And hello, it is Friday at noon, and that means it's time for our regular Lunch and Learns. And so today we're going to be talking about a study. I think they spent $30 million on this study, and then they scrapped it because it didn't tell them what they wanted it to tell them. So there are three reports in this one. One of them is about the study. One of them is like the other story, the counter story. And then the other one is kind of a humor story that I want to end on. And so I hope you'll enjoy this. But it's all about cell phone and cell phone radiation. Now, hopefully you are aware that we are living in a soup of electromagnetic frequencies. There is a frequency called the Schumann wave that is out in the atmosphere, and it is the vibration of life. We have other frequencies that we are dealing with, the 5G, the internet, the microwaves, the plug-ins, all those kind of things. So we have those electromagnetic frequencies as well. Then we've got the electromagnetic frequencies that are in our cell phones. So this is particularly talking about that and the dangers of cell phones. Now, obviously, we're not going to get away from using our cell phones because they are just essential to quality of life, but there's some things that we can do in order to protect ourselves so that we can use the technology to our best advantage, but we're not going to harm ourselves in the process. So a couple of decades ago, the FDA commissioned what was to become the largest, longest scale study ever done on the safety of cell phone radiation. The study was designed by the National Toxicology Program, the NTP, which is a United States government agency that is a branch of the National Institutes of Health, and it's connected to the FDA and the CDC. This study took over 15 years to complete and publish the results, which came out in 2018. These results seemed to have an unpleasant surprise to every government agency involved. It did not support their hypothesis, which is that cell phone radiation is no big deal. This is what the report said. After a peer-reviewed panel of pathologists and toxicologists reviewed the study and all of its details, the verdict was, and this is a quote, there is, quote, clear evidence of carcinogenic activity from cell phone radiation. Now, the NTP uses 5 classifications to determine the level of carcinogenity, cancer-causing, and clear evidence is the strongest of the 5 clarifications. So the panelists unanimously praised the design and the execution of the study and said it was thorough and it was by the books. So these are independent, peer-reviewed people. Great design, great, everything about it was great, very thorough, and there was nothing that was biased one way or the other. So the specific findings in this study, which was done on rodents and carefully adjusted so the results could be applied to humans, which is standard protocol in a randomized trial, all right, found that several forms of cancer in the male rodents and DNA damage in both male and females. In the males, they found mainly 2 rare types of cancer, schwannomas of the heart and gliomas of the brain. These same rare cancers have been found in epidemiological studies previously done on humans exposed to cell phone radiation. Now, gliomas are a particularly deadly form of cancer, and they are mostly in the brain. Now, all of the tumors were in the male rat, so I don't know what that says about female physiology. There's something different about that, and so we don't really know, but we do know that both male and female had DNA damage. All right, females had pre-cancerous conditions as well as the DNA damage. So the multiple negative effects occurred in the exposure group with no effects in the control group. That means we've got this group over here, we're exposing them to cell phone radiation. We've got this group over here that's not exposed. This group had all these problems, this group did not. So 100% cell phone radiation affects your DNA and tumors. No cell phone radiation, no issues there. So this is really, really important because we all have cell phones. Now, back in the day, way back, and I'm not talking about when you used to carry your cell phone in a briefcase, okay? I mean, I know that that did happen, but I didn't have one. But I did have a phone that I would wear on my belt, and I would wear it on my body until I learned that, hey, this is not a great idea. So the studies have shown that women that wear them on their belt, that ovary that's under that, on the same side as where you wear your phone, that ovary shrinks and has problems, whereas the ovary on the other side didn't. Same thing with the men. The men that wore their cell phone on their waist, their testicle on that side was damaged, smaller, more painful. Anyway, had issues with that. So we know that the cell phone does have damage. Those of us who have the phone attached to our ear, all right, and most of the time my phone is out here and I'm using it on speakerphone, but there are times when I need to have a private conversation and I do have to put it against my ear, and it's not very long until my face is really, really hot because of the cell phone radiation. So hopefully you have noticed that and you are using the speaker adaptation as well because it protects your brain. So everyone expected the study to be negative, said a senior government radiation official who has asked to remain anonymous. This statement may explain why this massive, flawlessly designed, government-funded, government-executed study has since been swept under the rug and dismissed by all the agencies involved, even after spending $30 million in taxpayer money to execute the study, all for the sake of public health. Now, the FCC and the FDA and even the NTP itself are significantly downplaying the results, and they're saying, oh, well, that was tested on rodents, not humans, so it's not a valid test, even though that is the industry standard, is to do tests on rodents, extrapolate that information and what it might mean to humans. That is the gold standard of testing. But because the study didn't come out with the results that they wanted, they're saying, oh, the study is not good. Even though peer reviewed, it was 100% well executed, well designed, flawless on all of the different things. So we need to understand that if people understood how damaging cell phone radiation was, they may not be so quick to go and buy the new cell phone. So I don't think that we're ever going to get away from it, but I think we have to use precautions, and this is why this report is really important. According to a report on the FDA's website, quote, after reviewing the study, we disagree with the conclusions and their findings regarding clear evidence of carcinogenic activity. Anything that has any import into carcinogenic activity is something that we all need to know about. We know that ingestion of heavy metals is a carcinogenic activity. We know that heavy metals, the body does not function very well with those, and we can have mental disorders, mental diseases, all that kind of thing. And so, you know, we know these things, but because it doesn't fit the narrative, these bodies are saying, we're not going to agree with that because it's not the outcome that they wanted. So the FDA is disagreeing with this group, actual scientists and expert toxicologists, with no valid explanation for their opinion. So they are biased because they want the study to say what they want the study to do. Now, how much stock do they have in these cell phone companies? I don't know. Lobbying goes a long way to deciding what our politicians will approve and not approve. So is there money changing hands? I don't know. That's not in this report. But I would imagine that people are wanting us to be consumers of this very dangerous product, and they're trying to hide this information from us. So this is just one of the thousands of studies that have shown the biological effects of the electromagnetic fields. With the dangers of the electromagnetic fields become more widely known, many attempts to prevent these harmful effects are being explored. These are blocking and shielding devices, passive devices like pendants and crystals, and impractical or impossible attempts to remove technology from your life. Now, when I was looking at supporting evidence for this, there are people that have decided they're going to go off the grid and they're not going to have a cell phone, they're not going to have a tablet, they're not going to have a computer, and they can live. I know personally, I know people that have done that, and they can live and they can do just fine, but it is not as convenient as it is when you've got those devices. So you just really have to think about, what is my health worth and what am I willing to risk on this? So the most comprehensive EMF, electromagnetic fields or frequencies, protection solution is to generate a field that is based on the infinitely varied and saturated fields found in nature, but at a higher amplitude so that the body cells can perceive and entrain with this field over the harmful EMF. So let me just break that down for you, because you're going to go, oh my God, she sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher, right? And so, as I said previously, everything in the universe has a frequency. Everything. If you remember back in your high school, maybe middle school, when you're talking about physics, they're talking to you about atoms and how atoms are moving all the time. Our desk is solid. It's a solid piece of matter, but at the molecular level, those atoms are spinning. So everything has a frequency. As I said at the beginning of this program, there is the Schumann wave. So go ahead and Google that. And it is the wavelength of life. And so when we, as human beings who are alive, when our frequencies get out of balance, not at the same level as that Schumann wave, then we are prone to sickness and disease. If we can entrain is a word that means I'm going to sync up with that. So I want to sync up with the Schumann wave. I don't want to sync up with 5G or my microwave or my television or my iPad or whatever. I want to go above that. And so what we do to go above that is to protect ourselves with either devices, home, total home devices, which are extremely expensive, or personal devices, which is what I do. So I have this. It is a black diode. Don't ask me how it works. I do not know. It is an Entergy product, ENTER-G. That's the brand. We used to carry it in the clinic, but after COVID, they just skyrocketed in their price, and it's just, it is an investment for sure. And so, but that little device I have, it recharges. All I have to do is sit it out in the sunlight, and it just totally recharges. And I wear it on my person on the left side. I wear it in my bra on the left side. You always want to use EMF protection on the left side of your body, because that's the side that it enters into. Don't ask me how we know this. I don't know this, but this is what the physicists tell us. And so I'm a real fan of don't work harder, work smarter. So listen to the people that know what they're doing, and then you can protect yourself. So I have worn that every single day of my life, probably not every day, but most every day as a protection. There are cell phone towers everywhere. There's 5G towers everywhere. Every building has Wi-Fi in it. So we are all bombarded all the time with these electromagnetic frequencies. So when you are wearing something on your person, it is a barrier, all right? And so that's what we need to do, and we're going to be talking about that. So the most comprehensive EMF protection solution is to generate a field that's based on varied and higher structured fields that are found in nature, obviously the Schumann wave. So there's a company, Blue Shield EMF Protection, that has been clinically proven to improve a wide variety of health markers, including cognitive function, blood glucose levels, sleep quality, and heart rate variability. Now, Heart rate variability is a really, really good test. We do that here in the clinic. And what that does is it measures the beat of your heart between the R waves. So you've got R waves, P waves, I think you have M waves. Anyway, it measures the variability between the R waves. And the more variable, the more time difference between the R waves, the better your heart is. So this particular company, now I'm telling you, these things are expensive, but what is your health worth, right? We have much bigger than this in our home by our fuse box to grab any EMFs that are coming in through the electronic devices that we have. So this particular company, again, Blue Shield EMF protection is clinically proven to give you a barrier against the EMFs. It is the first EMF protection technology on the market to demonstrate statistically significant improvement in the function of the body's own voltage-gated calcium channels, which is the primary upstream mechanism for EMFs. Now, you may not have heard of what a calcium channel is, but if you've got a heart issue, and a heart is an electrical organ, all right, sometimes some of these medications that you're giving are calcium channel blockers. Why is that? Because it's your calcium channel that is the pathway for these EMFs. So the World Health Organization concluded that cell phone radiation may cause brain tumors. And this is a quote. It says, at present, we do not know precisely the degree to which the risk of cancer and other adverse health effects are increased by exposure to radio frequency fields from cell phones, smart meters, or other wireless devices. However, I'm going to put the link in here. There are videos that show you exactly what's going on in your body when you are exposed to these frequencies. So we want you to know that brain tumor data does show that cell phone radiation affects it. All right. So we need to know that if we are especially using the phone on our face, in our ears, so we can have private conversations, then we know that we're exposing ourselves to those harmful rays, and nobody wants to have brain cancer. I don't. I'm sure you don't. The dramatic increase in the use of cellular telephones has generated concern about the possible negative effects of radio frequency signals developed to the brain, delivered to the brain. However, whether acute cell phone exposure affects human brain is unclear. Now, we looked at that first study, and the first study said it is unequivocal. People are still wanting to say it is not clear. So I'm going to put some links in the comments so you can read for yourself, because we all have to make these decisions. Nobody is going to give up their cell phones. That's not realistic unless you just want to live, out in the back and the beyond somewhere, and where there's no service and that kind of thing. Most of us are not going to do that. I'm just going to be real honest with you. When I turned 50 years old, my husband bought me a BlackBerry, and I just thought that was the best thing in the whole world because I could run my business from my phone. And honestly, today, I still run my business from my phone, even though I have a staff and all that kind of stuff. It just keeps me connected. It keeps me in the know of where I am on my calendar and all that kind of thing. So the human brain, all right, has at least some sensitivity to the effects of cell phone radiation. The increased metabolism in the brain regions closest to the antenna of the phone suggests that brain absorption of cell phone emissions may enhance the excitability of the brain tissue. The potential health consequences of this are unknown, though the results suggest that cell phone use can possibly affect brain function, potentially affecting the neurotransmitter and neurochemical brain activities. Now, why is this important? It's important because I see more and more and more and more children with tablets and cell phones and all that kind of thing, and parents are using them as pacifiers, right? Not getting on to you. I know it's easy. It's there. The kids like it. They're quiet. You can do whatever you want to do, especially if you're in a meeting. However, it disrupts the brain waves, the neurochemicals, and the neurotransmitters. When that happens, the brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And so you can have sleep disturbances, you can have anxiety, you can have learning disabilities, you can have even psychosis because the brain chemicals are not doing what they need to be doing. So I find this is very, very significant in our children. And I just want to say, when I was researching this, I was seeing all kinds of reports. This state is banning cell phones in school. This school district is banning cell phones in school. This community is banning cell phones in school. And as a former teacher, I absolutely applaud that, because when your student has one eye on the phone and one eye on the teacher, they're not giving you their 100% focus. And so they're not getting everything that they need out of the lessons. And so this is something that we need to know. When I did my master's degree for education, I have a master's degree in secondary education. I did my thesis on attention deficit disorder. And the research is definitely out there that looking at cell phones being digitally connected because of the different sounds and the different colors and the pops and the, all the things, your visual, it makes you scatterbrained. All right. And it contributes to ADD, ADHD. So that's what the findings are. And so as an educator, I know that we need to train the brain in a linear left to right fashion, which is how we read. And this is why back in the day, in the summer, there were summer reading programs, and you'd go to the library every 2 weeks, and there was a contest on who read the most books and that kind of thing. And what that did, it trained the brain to do what the brain needs to do. With all of the cell phone, tablets, all of the digital things that we have, and thank God we have it, but at the same time, with the developing children and their brains, we really need to monitor that and to see what's happening. In a 2017 review, it noted that several studies indicate that an increase in cortical excitability and or efficiency with EMF exposure translates to measurable cognitive changes. All right. So we need to know that these EMFs change the outer layer of the brain. All right. And it causes the brain to malfunction. So we do not want that. If you expose people to active cell phones when they play a computer game, the subject can actually respond faster compared to sham exposure, meaning the placebo exposure in the same scenario, but with the cell phone turned off. This empowered the industry to claim that while it may be the case that cell phone radiation does affect brain function, after all, it's to a positive effect. Now, this later study that was just released says it is very detrimental and is causing cancer. All right, so we just need to know that if we are going to be using these cell phones, we're going to have issues. All right. We do know that the World Health Organization announced that cell phones may cause brain tumors. The cell phone industry went into damage control and attacked the agency, similar to when the World Health Organization came out with the understanding that secondhand smoke, all right, was carcinogenic. So they're sowing confusion in the marketplace, and so we don't really know. So we do know. We do know. Now, who of you, raise your hand, who of you go to the bathroom and sit on the toilet with your cell phone in hand? Now, I am on Facebook, as you know, and the number of people who say they were on the potty with their cell phone and they dropped their cell phone in the toilet. Now, I mean, come on. What is so important that you can't take your, 5-second break to go to the bathroom and you have to have your cell phone? So we're just going to talk a little bit about how this is very dangerous to your health. I mean, it's dangerous to your cell phone too, but this is dangerous to your health. So health experts warn that using mobile phones when on the toilet is not only unsanitary, but it also affects the health of our intestines, our cardiovascular and cerebrovascular function, our eyes, our neck, and our spine. So in a 2021 consumer survey by VioGuard, a company manufacturing ultraviolet disinfection technology, found that 73% of over 1,100 participants, regardless of age or gender, admitted to using their cell phones while on the toilet or standing at a urinal. This increased to 93% if the people were aged 18 to 29. People, we really have this addiction we've got to get a handle on. The study, published in the peer-reviewed journal Germs, revealed a high level of bacterial contamination on the mobile phones of high school students aged 16 to 18 with potentially pathogenic bacteria. So researchers found more than 17,000 bacterial gene copies per phone, no difference between gender or phone types. So the scientists at the University of Arizona revealed that mobile phones carry 10 times more bacteria than do toilet seats. I mean, come on, people. You know, we've got to keep these cell phones clean, and taking them into the bathroom is just not a good idea. Using your phone while going to the bathroom has 6 potential risks, health risks. Toilets are breeding grounds for various pathogenic bacteria and viruses such as Streptococcus, E. coli, Salmonella, mold, and norovirus. We all know this. We all know that's why we wash our hands after we go to the bathroom. When using the cell phone in the bathroom, or even just flushing the toilet with your cell phone there, the bacteria and viruses will attach to the cell phone surface, right? Even after washing your hands, your phone can still become contaminated by the pathogens with potential to cause diarrhea, asthma, or other diseases. Researchers at the London School of Health and Tropical Medicine and Queen Mary University of London analyzed 390 samples from 12 cities in the UK, collected from both mobile phones and hands to analyze the germs present. They found 92% of mobile phones and 82% of the participants' hands contain bacteria, despite 95% of the people saying that they wash their hands with soap as often as possible. So, after concluding that this finding that 16% of participants' mobile phones and 16% of their hands were contaminated with E. coli, this is a bacteria derived from infected stool that causes gastrointestinal discomfort as well as potentially and fatal food poisoning. This is really important, people. You don't need to take your cell phone into the bathroom. If you're going to use a cell phone, and we all are, I mean, I'm raising my both hands, I'm going to use my cell phone. But there is hardly a day that goes by that I don't have this little beautiful piece of technology in my bra in order to give me a force field that is higher than the electromagnetic frequencies. It's higher than the 5G. It cancels that out so that I am not bombarded with those EMFs that cause DNA damage and potential brain cancer. So this is a lot. Look at I think it's called Blue Shield Technology. I looked at it. I think it's a Tesla company. Don't quote me on that. I looked at several different things. These devices are expensive. There are a lot of things out there that I can't tell if they're real or if they're not real. This particular company does have the technology that proves when you have these devices that your physiology is different. Live blood cell analysis is different. Heart rate variability is different. These are measurements that cannot be faked. They're not subjective. They are objective, and they've got the technology to prove that they work. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to spend the money in doing it, and I want you, and I'm encouraging you to do that. We've done it at our home. We do it on our persons, both my husband and myself. And so, you need to think about it, read about it, research it, and then decide what you need to do. Lots of information, I know. I probably will not see you next week. I've got a medical issue that needs my attention and my family. So it just depends on timing and that kind of thing. I may be here. I may not be here. It is the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. get your rest, get your relaxation, all the things that you need, because you need to be refreshed and rejuvenated to come back and do it all again next week. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing all the things, so that all of the different entities know that we provide really good value for you. And I will post the studies and some videos in the comment. And then you can do your own research and decide what's best for you. So thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend. Love you. Bye.